I gave you good instructions. Obey my commands. Let's touch gloves now and go to work. Good luck.
Barrera is the bigger guy. He must establish himself as the bigger guy and fight big tonight. And of course, Tapia has got to use his lack of size to stay out of the way and hit, and not get hit.
Barrera banging Tapia with jabs to open the fight. Johnny Tapia trying to throw right hands over the top.
Stop! Don't grab, don't grab.
Barrera being very assertive early on.
Yeah, if you're going to be big, you might as well establish, look, make this guy worry about your size and your punching power. Don't go in there trying to outbox him. Speed is going to win this fight.
At creating angles and never being directly in front of Romero. It's probably something he'll have to do again tonight.
There you go, right on top of that jab with that right hand by Tapia. That's what you got to be careful of. When you throw that jab, bring it back.
Face fight. Barrera leading, Tapia countering, and the pace is hot.
This guy's like a termite, Tapia.
Don't hold him, Johnny.
Stands his ground, bobs and weaves, and then throws shots.
He's a trainer, I should say. But it doesn't diminish his admiration for the fighter. He says Johnny is the best boxer in the world. It's as simple as that.
Tapia's got to make certain that he doesn't get caught with too many of those jabs.
Tapia has been caught with a lot of jabs and a couple right hands here in the first round.
If you're going to be in front of a guy who has a good jab, you got to be far away from him, real close. You can't be in that jabbing position. Tapia's got to find himself. If you're not punching, get away from this guy.
When Tapia comes in so close that he gets hit with a lead uppercut like that, he's got to be in a different position. Johnny's very straight on in front of Marco Antonio Barrera. I'm surprised he's not more at angles early on.
And it's beginning to get a little puffy under his eyes, Jim.
Well, that left jab is coming out just like a heavyweight's left jab. Barrera has to be cautious of tonight. Throw it out, but get it back.
Good.
It's actually 505, which is the area code for his hometown, Albuquerque.
Johnny Tapia starts to get into it with a body attack and begins to throw more punches than Barrera down the stretch of round number 2. So Tapia brings his crowd to life with a late rally in the second. And there's a big left jab just busting Tapia in the face.
But that reach just keeps him too far out there.
And there's the first of Barrera's classic left hooks to the body. And Barrera just watches to see which adjustments Tapia is making before resuming the attack.
You give up a title to fight a man like Tapia has done, you're going to have to get out there and fight. No doubt about it. You can't try to box this big, tall guy with a good left jab. You got to fight.
Johnny Tapia for fighting a fighter the quality of Marco Antonio Barrera has to be one of the most questionable. This is a great fight for fans.
Now that was a good excellent jab to the body by Barrera.
Well, after coming out and throwing 93 punches in the first round, Barrera has become exceedingly patient here in the fourth. Me sooner or later, and then reacting when Tapia gets close.
It just shows how much Barrera can do in the ring. We know he can brawl. We know he can move forward. Showing us now that he can fight while he's moving backward.
And of course, the big part of that margin coming from that repeated jab that we showed you in the replays.
Just to land one shot.
All right. Johnny's face is starting to get nicked up in a variety of areas, both related to boxing and unrelated. Helped to bring the negotiations for that fight to a close and knock it off the drawing board. But then she agreed it was a good idea. She might have been right both ways.
But right now, as we approach the midway point in this fight, Teresa better get the rally monkey out.
He doesn't have that.
Well, he's never faced
He doesn't have a
like Barrera.
He doesn't have a corner that kind of reminds him of certain situations so that he can get him protecting himself. He hasn't done anything to make Barrera bring his arms down yet. You can't get into the fight again like that. There you go with the right to the body. Left, right, left. Keep it up.
Almost as though he heard you, George. Biggest rally of the fight for Tapia, as finally he decides to just make it a war and lands uppercuts against Barrera.
And pays for it right there, but comes back.
This is a fight that Tapia can do some damage in.
This is what I was talking about. Tell us about his gym.
Una vida loca, un gran corazón, the heart of Johnny Tapia. Tapia seems to have taken Barrera off guard a little bit here. Now Barrera starts to come out of his shell. Tapia goes down, and Jay Nady says it's a slip, not a knockdown. Jay Nady, who was tremendously helpful to Barrera's chances trying to get back into his jab rhythm. Tapia driving forward, and he nails Barrera with a right uppercut inside. Jay Nady and Tapia having a continuing conversation. Barrera lands an uppercut. Tapia is alive and awake in Las Vegas. Hard right hand by Tapia. Hard right hand by Barrera. What we've seen in Las Vegas recently has been so magnificent in some instances. And there hasn't been a clinch here either. Stop! Before
And Tapia's on the right side.
don't hold!
Reach and everything disappears when you're on the rope. But Tapia does better when he drops his hand. He gets a little closer and he makes his opponent panic.
Short left hand inside by Barrera stopped Tapia in his tracks. Tapia lands a right hand across the top because Barrera naturally steps to his left when he throws his jab. So he sort of throws it across his body. Johnny's looking brave here, but he's not landing, and he's taking left hands. The popular pick in the casino was Barrera by decision, and so far that looked not like he did in the early rounds.
He's throwing it, but there's no snap to it.
Or would back off in some way. His heart beats right through his chest.
This guy jumped on him like a termite, and he just doesn't know exactly what to do to discourage him. That's what he's got to do, get those combinations in on his own.
Well, they're back in the center of the ring where Barrera has been totally dominant through most of the evening. Barrera, the Tapia crowd rising from their seats, trying to urge their man back into the fight. Series of lands by Barrera. Tapia has to come right back.
Somehow or another, he stopped punching around 8, but then again in the 9th, I thought he did. He got inside and landed enough solid shots probably to pull it out. 6'3", Barrera.
Whoa! Hard right hand shot by Barrera. Tapia tries to play possum, then come back.
Stop! Break!
Time for him to start fighting and punching.
Left hook to the body, sets up a right hand up there.
Not playing the boxer anymore.
I think he's making more of a show of fighting than actually fighting, George. He's doing a few throws like that, but Tapia has never been even close to stop.
Doesn't matter what a guy can knock down or not. You can punch, you can knock him out.
Tapia's glove touched the canvas.
The right side, he hasn't tried to finish this man off.
They both wear the same word on the back of their trunks because Barrera's mother's last name is Tapia. Not related, of course.
Now Barrera is doing this.
It's becoming target practice.
Yeah, that's what he should have been doing. Don't get this guy all that nerve. Show your power off.
In the 9th round to Tapia. He said, what?
Nice quick right hand by Tapia. Dousing the fire. The way he's fighting now, Johnny Tapia seems to have accepted defeat.
The reason he looks the way he looks is because he's been fighting tonight. Barrera's been boxing.
Well, somebody's been landing those shots on him.
Jim, in the 10th round, real quickly, Johnny Tapia slipped because the traction is poor, because the ring is very slippery. Barrera by 5.
Thank you.
Now Barrera goes to the body and to the head. Punches, punches.
Nady looks at Barrera as if to say, what's wrong with Johnny? And Barrera shakes his head as if to say, I don't know.
He caught a punch. He says he caught a head. I didn't see it. It looked like a punch in the eye.
Boy, he double upped on the left hook. That's what Barrera did. He did it again.
I thought maybe he caught a lace. I thought maybe he got laced or thumbed in the eye. That was what he was complaining about. Meanwhile,
you can't get a
Barrera
thumb
was
on
going to
lace.
work.
Barrera now fighting like he has to win the last round.
All he has to do is go for the finish.
Here's a Tapia trademark as he waves his glove in the air to bring his crowd back into it, and they respond. Here's the last hurrah for Johnny Tapia against Marco Barrera. One more violent flurry, and there it ends. As they go back to the center of the ring, and other Tapia opponent in 57 fights. As we get to the last 20 seconds, and Barrera still coolly popping away with the jab. A boxing exhibition tonight of the man Johnny Tapia called the king of the featherweights. Marco Antonio Barrera of Mexico City lays down the stretch with Johnny Tapia, sealing what was apparently a clear victory over the New Mexico legend. In the 12th round, though, Marco Antonio Barrera landed 45 of 108 punches, and he doesn't need your $10. And Johnny Tapia only 9 of 59 by CompuBox numbers. So it was the latest of a...
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we go to the Budweiser scorecards. Chuck Giampa scores it, 116 to 112. Bill Graham has it, 118 to 110. And Dave Moretti scores it, 118 to 110. All for the winner by unanimous decision. And still the people's champion, the babyface assassin, the Ciudad de Mexico, Marco